Every invention ever built, every fortune ever made, every empire ever formed, began the same way in the quiet chamber of the human mind before it took shape in the world it lived in thought. And that same power, the power to imagine and bring forth reality, is alive within you at this very moment. The only question is, will you use it? Imagination is the birthplace of all achievement. Every invention, every masterpiece, every empire began first as an idea, an invisible seed planted in the mind. Before anything exists in the physical world, it must first exist in thought. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the most powerful workshop known to man. Within it, you are free to shape, mold, and design the life you wish to live. There are no limits inside the mind, only those you accept as true. The person who learns to harness the power of imagination begins to create deliberately rather than living by accident. You see, the mind is a tool of creation. What you can conceive mentally, you can begin to bring forth physically. The process begins with an idea, a picture, a vision. This mental picture is not just idle daydreaming, it is a prototype of your future reality. The more clearly you can see it, the more real it becomes to your subconscious, and the more your actions will align to bring it to life. The world you live in is nothing more than the outer expression of your inner world. If you wish to change your results, you must first change your image, but imagination must be used with purpose. Random thoughts produce random outcomes. Focused, disciplined imagination produces specific, tangible results. This is why the first step toward any great achievement is to take time, serious, intentional time, to imagine what it is that you truly want, not what others expect, not what seems practical, but what your heart longs for, what your spirit dares to dream. Sit with it, see it, feel it, expand it in your mind until it becomes vivid and detailed, until it feels more like memory than possibility. Great thinkers, innovators, and leaders throughout history understood this principle. They spent time alone, away from distraction, deliberately picturing what they wanted to bring into the world. They allowed their imagination to run ahead of their reality. They saw things that did not yet exist and believed in them until they became tangible. This is not madness. It is the foundation of all progress. Every advancement in human history began when someone refused to accept current circumstances as final and instead imagined a different future. The beauty of imagination is that it allows you to live in possibility long before reality catches up. It allows you to experience, emotionally and mentally, the life you are building, even if no one else can see it yet. And once your mind has experienced that future with clarity and conviction, it begins to work toward it with intensity. Your thoughts begin to align, your energy shifts, your behavior transforms. You start attracting ideas, people, and opportunities that match the image held in your mind. You must protect and nurture this mental workshop. Guard it from doubt, fear, and limitation. Feed it daily with images of the life you desire. Use visualization as a tool, not just a habit. See yourself succeeding. Hear the words of victory. Feel the emotion of having already achieved your goal. This level of imagination, when practiced consistently, becomes your foundation. It becomes the lens through which you see the world, and eventually the reality you step into. The truth is simple. Nothing happens until it first happens in your mind. The chair you sit on, the device in your hand, the building around you, all of it was once just a thought. You hold that same power. You have been given the divine gift of imagination, not to escape reality, but to shape it. Use it with purpose. Dare to dream boldly, and understand fully that what you can conceive with clarity and belief you can and will achieve. Your future begins in your mind. Create it wisely. Belief is the force that gives life to thought. Without belief, even the most vivid imagination remains locked in the realm of possibility, never crossing into reality. Belief is what transforms an idea into action, a dream into pursuit, and a plan into progress. It is not enough to merely conceive a goal in your mind. You must believe in it with such certainty that it becomes real to you before the world ever sees it. This is the foundation of all achievement. The human mind is naturally skeptical. It looks for evidence. It clings to the familiar, but belief does not wait for proof. It creates it. The moment you decide to believe in your vision, you begin to reshape your inner world. Your thinking sharpens, your confidence rises, and your actions begin to align with the new truth you've accepted. This is how belief works, not from outside in, but from inside out. To believe in your dream means to see it not just as something that might happen, but something that must happen. It means choosing faith over fear, possibility over doubt, vision over limitation. It means trusting in your ability to figure it out, even when you don't yet know how. This level of belief is not something you are born with. It is something you build, and like a muscle, belief grows stronger the more you use it. One of the greatest truths about belief is this: the subconscious mind accepts as reality what is repeated with emotion. It does not differentiate between fact and fantasy. It only responds to intensity and repetition. When you repeatedly affirm your goal, when you visualize it vividly, when you speak it aloud with energy, you are planting seeds in your subconscious that eventually shape your actions and outcomes. Over time, your mind accepts the belief as truth, and once it does, it begins to move heaven and earth to make it so. You must guard your belief carefully. Doubt is subtle. It creeps in through negative words, unsupportive people, and past failures. If left unchecked, it poisons the soil in which your dream is planted. That's why it is essential to feed your belief daily. Read words that empower you. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Speak about your goals as though they are already on the way, because every time you do, you strengthen the belief that your vision is not just possible, it is inevitable. Belief also changes how you respond to obstacles. A person who lacks belief sees failure as a reason to quit, but one who truly believes sees failure as part of the path, a temporary setback, not a permanent defeat. They keep going, they adapt, they persist. Because their mind is anchored in the certainty of their goal, they have decided that success is not a matter of if, but when. This kind of belief radiates outward, others feel it. They may not understand your vision, but they will feel your confidence. And in time, that belief becomes contagious. People will begin to support you, trust you, and invest in you, not because of what they see, but because of what you believe. To conceive a thing is the first step. But to believe in it, that is the power that sets everything in motion. You must believe in your idea when it's fragile, when it's invisible, when no one else sees it. You must believe when results are slow, when doubts whisper, when fear shouts. Because belief is what keeps you moving when nothing else is working. In the end, your belief will either build your future, or your doubt will destroy it. Choose belief, feed it, protect it, strengthen it. Because once you believe, your mind will begin to align every thought, every habit, and every decision with the reality you've chosen. And once the mind believes, it will achieve. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. It is the inner fire that drives a person from where they are to where they want to be. Without desire, there is no motion, no ambition, and no sustained effort. It is the emotional fuel behind every goal ever reached, every dream ever realized. When the mind conceives an idea, it is desire that breathes life into it, giving it urgency and intensity. The stronger the desire, the more willing a person becomes to act, to persist, to endure. Desire is not the same as a wish or a vague preference. Most people wish for better lives, greater success, more abundance. But wishes carry no power. True desire is definite. It is specific. It is backed by emotion so strong that the individual becomes obsessed with the goal. They think about it constantly. They plan for it, make sacrifices for it, and keep pushing toward it despite setbacks. It is this level of focused emotional energy that transforms a mental concept into a burning need, and that need compels action. Every person who has achieved greatness began with a desire that refused to be ignored. When you study the lives of the most successful individuals in history, you find a common trait. They were consumed by a purpose. Their goals were not hobbies. They were missions. They were not interested. They were committed. Desire was the driving force that carried them through failure, through opposition, through long years of preparation and learning. It was desire that made them unstoppable. Desire also serves as a filter. It brings clarity to the mind. When you deeply desire a certain outcome, your thoughts, energy, and decisions begin to align with that outcome. You begin to say no to distractions, no to excuses, and no to anything that does not support your goal. The mind becomes a magnet, attracting ideas, opportunities, and people that align with the desire it holds. You start to see solutions where before there were only problems. This is not coincidence. It is focus. But desire must be fed. It cannot be passive. You must return to it daily, reminding yourself why you started. You must write down your goals, visualize them, speak them aloud with conviction, and fuel them with feeling. When desire is not cultivated, it fades, and when it fades, momentum is lost. That is why discipline and repetition are necessary. They keep the desire alive long enough to produce results. Another key truth is that desire becomes more powerful when it is connected to a higher purpose. When your goal is not just about self-gain, but about impact, service, or legacy, your motivation deepens. You begin to feel a responsibility to grow, to succeed, to lead. Not just for yourself, but for others. This type of desire creates resilience. It helps you keep moving when things get hard because you're driven by something bigger than comfort or convenience. You must also be honest with yourself. How badly do you want it? Are you merely interested, or are you truly committed? Because desire does not tolerate half-hearted effort. It demands your full focus, your full heart, your full energy. If you say you want something but do not act with urgency, then your desire is not yet strong enough. Strengthen it. Fan the flame until it burns so brightly that it consumes doubt, fear, and laziness. In the end, desire is what keeps you alive when the path gets dark. It is what pushes you through fatigue, what lifts you after failure, what calls you to keep moving forward. And when that desire becomes unshakable, when it grips your mind and will not let go, you will find that nothing is beyond your reach. Because with strong desire, combined with belief and imagination, there is no limit to what you can achieve. The subconscious mind is the silent, invisible force that governs the majority of our behaviors, decisions, and outcomes. It does not think, it accepts. It does not judge, it obeys. Whatever thoughts are consistently repeated, especially when charged with emotion, the subconscious mind absorbs and acts upon. This is the reason repetition is not merely helpful in the journey to success, it is essential. The conscious mind may conceive an idea, but it is the subconscious that brings it into being, and it only does so when the idea is planted repeatedly and with conviction. Many individuals go through life unaware that their subconscious programming is steering their every move. They wonder why they keep experiencing the same limitations, the same fears, the same failures, never realizing these are the products of deeply embedded beliefs, absorbed often in childhood or through years of unconscious repetition. But the power of the mind lies in this. What was programmed unintentionally can be reprogrammed deliberately, and repetition is the tool that makes it possible. When you repeat a thought over and over, whether spoken, written, or imagined, you begin to impress it upon the subconscious. Over time, this repeated thought becomes accepted as reality, even if it was initially met with doubt or resistance. That is why affirmations, visualizations, and focused inner dialogue are so powerful. They are not empty rituals, they are the chisels by which you reshape the mental structure of your life. To truly understand the power of repetition, think about how habits are formed. No habit is formed in a single moment. It is created through repeated action, through doing something consistently until it becomes automatic. The same principle applies to thought. A belief, a mindset, or an identity becomes automatic only through repetition. That is how fear is learned, and it is how faith can be built. Repetition becomes even more potent when combined with emotion. A thought repeated with indifference may never penetrate the subconscious, but a thought repeated with feeling, whether joy, gratitude, urgency, or even pain, sinks deep and takes root. The subconscious speaks the language of emotion. That is why, if you want to reprogram your mind for success, you must repeat your desired beliefs with intensity, with feeling, and with unwavering consistency. Repetition must also be intentional. It is not enough to passively hear or read positive words once or twice and expect transformation. You must saturate your mind with your chosen thoughts. Read them daily, speak them aloud, write them down, visualize them, embed them in your routines. The more frequently you encounter a thought, the more familiar and acceptable it becomes to your mind. And what becomes familiar eventually becomes your reality. This is why people who succeed often appear lucky to others. What others see as effortless results is actually the product of years of repeated thought, belief, and action. The successful person has conditioned their mind to expect and accept achievement. Their subconscious is aligned with their goals, and so their behavior flows naturally toward success. They are not trying. They are simply being what they have programmed themselves to be. You are doing this already, whether you know it or not. Every complaint, every self-doubt, every story of limitation you repeat to yourself is reinforcing a pattern. The question is not whether you're using repetition. The question is, what are you repeating when you become intentional with your mental input, when you choose your thoughts as deliberately as you would ingredients for a fine recipe? You begin to change your inner programming. And when the subconscious mind is reprogrammed to match your vision, success becomes a matter of time, not chance. Repetition is not just a habit. It is the doorway to transformation. Speak what you seek. Repeat it until it becomes truth, and your world will follow. Thoughts by themselves are neutral. They exist as mere electrical impulses in the brain until something gives them weight, influence, and power. And that something is emotion. When a thought is fused with emotion, it becomes charged. It becomes magnetic. It gains the power to influence behavior, attract circumstances, and shape reality. The mind responds more powerfully to emotional thought than to logic alone. That is why it is not enough to simply think positively. You must feel your thoughts with intensity and conviction for them to take root and produce results. Emotion is the activating force behind creative energy. It gives life to mental images and beliefs. A thought repeated without feeling is like a seed without water. It may exist, but it will not grow. However, when that same thought is infused with a powerful emotion, whether it be faith, love, desire, or even desperation, it becomes a living idea. The subconscious mind, which governs most of your behavior, does not respond to dry words or hollow repetition. It responds to the emotional intensity behind those words. Consider this. People make major life decisions not because of facts, but because of how they feel. They buy things based on emotional connection, not pure logic. They commit to goals when they are emotionally moved, not merely intellectually persuaded. The same principle applies to belief. You can say you believe in your success, but unless that belief is felt deeply, it has no creative force. When belief is emotionally backed, the entire nervous system responds. You begin to walk, talk, and act in ways that align with your vision because your whole being believes it. Emotion, energized thought also has a unique ability to reach and influence the subconscious mind quickly. This is critical because the subconscious is the seat of habit, intuition, and automatic behavior. The key to reprogramming it lies in repetition plus emotion. That means visualizing your goal not just with clarity, but with passion. That means affirming your purpose not just with words, but with enthusiasm and faith. The stronger the emotional charge, the deeper the impression on the subconscious, and the faster the external world begins to shift in your favor. This is why people often experience breakthroughs in moments of intense emotional pressure. When someone hits rock bottom and feels a surge of desperation or determination, they suddenly tap into new ideas, strengths, and resources. It isn't the circumstance alone that brings change. It is the emotion it evokes. And when that emotion is channeled into thought and action, it becomes transformative. But emotion must be guided. Uncontrolled emotion can lead to irrational decisions and chaos. The key is to direct your emotional energy toward a constructive purpose. Choose thoughts that align with your goals. Then, practice feeling them as though they are already real. Use the power of visualization to generate the feeling of success, of confidence, of fulfillment. The more often you do this, the more your subconscious begins to accept those feelings as truth, and your life starts to reflect that internal shift. This is not theory. It is the core of how all growth begins. Emotion-backed thought is what moves mountains. It is what changes lives. It is what transforms people from average to exceptional. Your emotions are not weaknesses. They are tools. Harnessed correctly, they become fuel for your faith, fire for your vision, and power for your persistence. So do not merely think your goal, feel it, live it in your imagination. Let the emotion flood your system until the belief in your achievement becomes unshakable. When your thoughts are alive with emotion, they no longer exist just in the mind. They become forces in the world. And when thought and emotion move in harmony toward a purpose, achievement becomes inevitable. Persistence is the bridge between desire and achievement. It is the quality that separates those who only wish from those who accomplish. Many conceive great ideas, and many even believe in them with passion. But few have the strength to continue when the path becomes difficult, when the results are delayed, or when failure shows its face. Persistence is what carries you through these moments. It is the invisible force that keeps your vision alive while the world is still catching up to it. No great success is ever achieved without resistance. Obstacles are not signs that you are off course. They are confirmations that you are on the path that matters. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has faced doubt, defeat, and delay. The difference lies in how they responded. While others surrendered to discouragement, the persistent kept moving. They adjusted, adapted, learned, and pressed forward. They refused to quit not because the road was easy, but because their purpose was non-negotiable. Persistence is not dramatic. It is often quiet and repetitive. It is waking up every day and doing the work, even when no one is watching, when the excitement has faded, and when progress seems invisible. It is saying yes to your vision again and again, regardless of how you feel or how long it takes. It is the discipline of continuing in the dark, trusting that the light will come. One reason persistence is so powerful is that it conditions the mind for victory. When you persist, you teach your subconscious that giving up is not an option. You build a mental pattern of endurance. With each act of continued effort, your confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself more deeply, knowing that no matter the challenge, you will keep going. This inner trust becomes a foundation on which belief and achievement can stand. Persistence also attracts unexpected help. Life begins to move in your favor when it sees that you are serious. Resources appear. People show up, opportunities emerge, not by chance, but as a response to your unwavering commitment. The world respects the one who refuses to be denied. Your persistence sends a signal that you are ready, that you are willing, that you are unstoppable. And eventually, life begins to yield to that energy, but persistence must be fueled by a definite purpose. Vague goals do not generate staying power. When your aim is clear, your energy has direction. When your reason is strong, your drive is sustainable. This is why knowing your why is critical. When the how gets difficult, it is the why that pulls you forward. The deeper your reason, the stronger your resolve. Purpose gives you a reason to persist when every voice says stop. Understand that temporary failure is not final. It is a stepping stone. It is feedback. It teaches you what does not work, so you can move closer to what does. Those who fear failure avoid persistence, but those who embrace failure as part of the process become resilient. They fall and rise, they stumble and adjust, and in doing so they become stronger, wiser, and more capable than they were before. There is a compounding effect to persistence. What seems like small, daily efforts eventually build momentum. That momentum becomes unstoppable. Success often arrives suddenly to the outside world, but in truth, it is the result of countless moments of persistence the world never saw. So whatever your goal, whatever your dream, understand this. There will be resistance, there will be doubt, but there must never be retreat. Let others give up, let others settle. You persist, persist with purpose. Persist with faith. Persist with the unshakable belief that what you've conceived and believed will, through your relentless effort, become your reality. Keep going, and you will find that persistence does not just lead to success, it guarantees it. Definiteness of purpose is the guiding star of achievement. It is the clear, unwavering decision about what you want and why you want it. Without it, the mind becomes scattered, the energy divided, and progress uncertain. A person without a definite aim drifts through life, reacting to circumstances, being pulled in every direction by distractions, doubts, and the opinions of others. But the one who knows their purpose, who has chosen it deliberately and holds to it with conviction, moves with power, direction, and magnetic force. The mind functions like a lens. When it is unfocused, light scatters. But when it is directed with precision, it becomes a laser, cutting through obstacles and lighting the way forward. This is what definiteness of purpose does. It focuses your mind, aligns your thoughts, and channels your energy toward a specific outcome. It makes your actions intentional and your decisions easier because every step you take is guided by your chosen destination. Most people fail not because they lack intelligence, talent, or opportunity, but because they never take the time to define what they truly want. They chase too many goals at once, or worse, follow goals handed to them by society, family, or fear. In doing so, they spread their energy thin and make little lasting progress. But the moment you decide with absolute clarity what your life is about, everything begins to change. Your subconscious mind accepts that purpose as instruction. Your environment begins to reorganize around your intent. You become like a compass needle, always returning to your true north. Definiteness of purpose gives you emotional fuel. It creates passion because when you know your mission, you wake up with a reason to act. Even when the work is hard, your commitment stays firm because you're not acting randomly. You're working towards something that matters deeply to you. That sense of meaning keeps you grounded when storms come and steady when others lose their way. It also breeds confidence. When you have a clear aim, you move boldly. You stop second, guessing yourself because your choices are measured against your goal. Is this action helping me fulfill my purpose, or is it a distraction? This simple question becomes a filter, a tool for eliminating confusion. While others hesitate, you act. While others doubt, you decide. This decisiveness is not arrogance, it is alignment. The power of definiteness also lies in its ability to attract. People are drawn to those who know what they want and are unapologetic about pursuing it. Resources are attracted to clarity. Opportunities find those who are prepared. The universe itself seems to respond to the person who walks with purpose. This is not coincidence. It is the natural result of focused energy creating momentum. Your definite purpose does not need to be grand in the eyes of others. What matters is that it is clear to you. Whether your goal is to build a business, create art, teach, serve, invent, or grow spiritually, what matters most is that you define it. Write it out, refine it, revisit it daily, let it become a living part of your identity, let it guide your thoughts, your routines, and your relationships. Definiteness of purpose also simplifies persistence. When you know what you are working toward, setbacks lose their power to discourage you. You're not easily thrown off course because the course is set. You become like a river, sometimes bending, sometimes blocked, but always flowing toward the sea. Your goal may require time, growth, and patience, but with a clear purpose you remain undeterred. In the end, life responds to clarity. The clearer your purpose, the stronger your belief. The stronger your belief, the more powerful your action. And with powerful, consistent action, success is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of alignment. Decide what you want, believe you can attain it, commit to it fully, and then walk the path, knowing that with definiteness of purpose, all things are possible.